You have been trying to learn English for a long time, and deep inside, you already know that something is wrong. Not with your effort, not with your intelligence, not with the hours you have spent studying, but with something else. Something you cannot name yet. Something nobody ever told you about. And that feeling, that quiet frustration you carry every single day, the moment you open your mouth and the words disappear, the moment you understand everything in your head, but nothing comes out, the moment you sit in a room full of people and stay silent because you are afraid, that feeling is exactly what this video is about. And I want you to know before we go any further that what happened to me was exactly the same. I was not lazy. I was not stupid. I was simply missing one piece, just one. And when I finally found it, everything changed overnight. But I will tell you what that piece is in a moment, because first you need to understand why you are really struggling. And the answer is going to surprise you. I used to wake up every morning with a plan. I would open my grammar book, study new vocabulary, watch English videos, write down words in a notebook, and at the end of the day, I would feel good. I would feel like I was making progress. But then, the next morning, I would sit with someone who spoke English naturally, and my mind would go completely blank. It was like someone had turned off a switch inside my brain. All the words I had studied, all the grammar rules I had memorized, all the sentences I had practiced, they were gone. Just gone. And I could not understand why. I was working so hard. I was doing everything right, or at least I thought I was. But something strange happened one afternoon that made me question everything I believed about learning English. I was sitting in a small cafe, and I heard two people talking in English. They were not using difficult words. They were not speaking with perfect grammar. They were simply talking, naturally, freely, without stopping, without thinking, without translating. And I watched them, and I felt something painful in my chest. Not jealousy exactly, but something deeper, something like loss. Like I had been running in the wrong direction for years, and I had finally realized it. And in that moment, I asked myself a question that I had never asked before. Why can they speak without thinking, and I cannot? What do they have that I do not have? What is the real difference between us? And the answer I found was not what I expected. Most people believe that the problem is vocabulary. They think if they just learn more words, everything will become easy. So they buy apps, they make flashcards, they memorize lists. But the problem is not the words. You probably already know enough words to have a basic conversation. The real problem is something that lives deeper inside your brain. Something called the translation habit. And this habit is silently destroying your English every single day without you even knowing it. Let me explain what I mean, because this is where everything changed for me. When you hear a question in English, your brain does not process it in English. It first translates the question into your native language. Then it searches for the answer in your native language. Then it tries to translate that answer back into English. And by the time all of that is finished, the other person is already waiting, already looking at you, and you feel the pressure, you feel the panic, and the words stop coming. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever experienced that exact moment, that silence that feels like it lasts forever? That is not a grammar problem. That is not a vocabulary problem. That is a thinking problem. And there is a very simple but very powerful way to fix it. But before I tell you what it is, I want you to understand something important about why your brain does this. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is actually doing exactly what you trained it to do. For years, you studied English by translating. Your textbooks were written in your language. Your teacher explained everything in your language. Every time you learned a new English word, you connected it to a word in your own language. So your brain built a bridge, a translation bridge. And every time you want to speak English, your brain runs across that bridge, back and forth, back and forth. And that crossing takes time. And that time is what makes you slow, what makes you nervous, what makes you silent. And here is the thing nobody ever told you. The secret is not to learn more English. The secret is to remove the bridge. I know that sounds strange. I did not understand it at first either. But let me show you exactly what I mean with a simple example from real life. Imagine someone asks you, "What did you eat for breakfast?" If you use the translation method, your brain first hears the question, translates it, thinks of the answer in your language, then tries to build an English sentence. But if you train your brain to think directly in English, you simply see the image of your breakfast, and the words come out. Bread, eggs, tea. That is it. No translation, no bridge, no delay. And I want you to try something right now. Look around the room you are sitting in, and for 30 seconds, just name what you see in English. Do not translate. Do not think too hard. Just say the word. Chair, window, phone, light, wall. This is the first exercise. It is so simple that most people ignore it. And that is exactly why most people never improve, because they're always looking for something complicated when the answer is incredibly simple. But that was not the biggest mistake I made. And this is the part that most English learners never hear. Even when I stopped translating words, I was still translating feelings. I was still translating emotions. When I felt happy, I would first feel it in my own language and then try to express it in English. And that gap between feeling and expression is what makes English feel unnatural, what makes it feel like a performance instead of a conversation. So the second exercise I want to share with you is something I call emotion naming. Every time you feel something during your day, name it in English first, not after, not later, right in that moment. When you feel tired, say, "I am tired." When you feel excited, say, "I am excited." When you feel nervous, say, "I am nervous." This trains your brain to connect feelings directly to English words without going through your first language. And after just 2 weeks of doing this, something extraordinary happened to me. I started dreaming in English. Not because I was trying to, but because my brain had finally begun to accept English as a real language and not just a subject I was studying. What happened next surprised me more than anything. When I started thinking in English, my speaking became slower at first, and I panicked. I thought I was going backwards. I thought something was wrong. But then I realized that the slowness was actually understanding. I was not slow because I was confused. I was slow because I was finally processing English the right way, directly, honestly, without the bridge. And within a few weeks, the speed came back naturally. But this time it was real speed, natural speed, the kind of speed that comes from thinking in a language and not translating it. And I want you to feel that too, because you are not far from it. You are closer than you think. The missing piece was never grammar, it was never vocabulary, it was never talent. It was the simple and powerful habit of thinking in English, of feeling in English, of living in English, even for small moments of your day. And now that you know what the real problem is, now that you understand why the bridge was slowing you down, I want you to make one small promise to yourself today, just one, that starting from this moment, you will try to name one thing, one feeling, one thought in English before you translate it. Just one. Because that one moment is where the change begins. That one moment is the missing piece that I was looking for all along. And now it belongs to you too.